Here's a question for you. If you already own a PS5, a Xbox Series S, and a PS Portal, why on earth would you buy a Steam Deck? That's exactly the question I need to answer before my girlfriend finds out that I actually bought a Steam Deck. So please leave your answers in the comment section before she kills me. Thanks. I've only owned a gaming PC once in my life. It was a pre-built HP Omen PC. It lasted about a week before selling it because honestly, PC gaming felt like homework. Drivers, launchers, settings for your settings. And I recently got the M4 Mac Mini, which actually can game surprisingly well now, but it's still limited to very specific compatible titles and is definitely not fully built with gamers in mind, even though Apple would sometimes make you believe that. So naturally, I wanted something the complete opposite, and I bought a Steam Deck OLED. Now, why OLED? Well, because my M4 iPad Pro has absolutely spoiled me. Once you've had an OLED screen, everything else just looks a bit washed out. And it's like going from 120 Hz to 60 Hz. This device changed how I play games. It's not just about the specs, it's about the experience. And I know it sounds super weird, especially when I already own a PS Portal, but I promise you this will make sense on how special the Steam Deck OLED actually is. Unboxing the Steam Deck OLED was honestly nicer than expected. The carry case you get with the OLED model feels premium and actually protective, not just an afterthought from Valve. I also grabbed the official docking station, which I'll talk about later, but first let's talk about the design of the Steam Deck OLED. The design of the Steam Deck is great. It is a bit heavier than expected, but it fits comfortable in the hands. The OLED gives you a 7.4-inch screen, which is 4 inches wider than the standard LCD version. You get customizable back buttons, and I have to say, this white limited edition looks so nice in real life. However, I'm a bit curious about how long it would take until it gets super dirty though. The buttons on the Steam Deck feels tactile and responsive, and you can even expand the storage with a mini SD card. All in all, the design is fantastic. Slightly lighter than the LCD model, better cooling, it actually runs cooler to the touch during long sessions, slightly slimmer bezels that makes the OLED panel pop even more, and most importantly, it has ports. We're talking about a USB-C port, 3.5mm headphones jack, volume rocker, micro SD slot for expanding storage, and surprisingly great Bluetooth connection. That last one is huge because it means I can connect all my external devices like my AirPods Max, keyboard or mouse with no dongles and no adapters, no drama. Even without a Steam account, getting started on the Steam Deck was super easy. You literally just power it on, download the updates, create or log into your Steam account, and boom, you're in. All your Steam games, if you have Steam games, are already there for you, waiting for you to just hop back in and play. Super simple. Now, the Steam Deck OLED panel is everything. The only other handheld I've used recently has been my trusty old PS Portal, which has a very solid 8-inch LCD screen. But once you see the OLED at this size, it's game over in my opinion. Colors are so much more richer, contrast is insane, and the black levels is just perfect. zero light bleed, and because this is HDR compatible OLED, games like Hades 2, Lies of P, and Cyberpunk 2077 looks absolutely fantastic and really pops off the screen. It's actually unreal that this looks so good on such a tiny handheld device. Now, there is a bit of caveat here because this is not a 1080p screen. It's actually a 1280 x 800 screen, which is slightly more than 720p. You would think this would be an issue, but Valve has some magic way of tinkering with stuff and done such a great job that this screen still looks fantastic even though it's not a 1080p natively. This is also why I'm planning on doing a breakdown between the Steam Deck OLED and the LCD version to compare these two. So if you want to see them side by side or see which one you should rather get and how they compare to each other, don't forget to smash the like button and hey, maybe even hit subscribe. Now, let's talk about performance, which is probably the most important part when it comes to your handheld gaming. Performance on the Steam Deck OLED really surprised me. This isn't just a good for a handheld kind of thing. It's legitimately smooth, running AAA games. I tested AAA games such as Lies of P and Assassin's Creed Mirage and a bunch more. All run really well, and thanks to the quick suspend and resume, you can hop in and out of games super quick. It's like playing on your Xbox Series S or your PS5. It's so smooth. And I really wish that the PS Portal had this function as well when it comes to its cloud gaming. And for indie games such as Hades 2, Cuphead, and more, it even runs smoother if you could even imagine that. Now, battery life though depends on the game you're playing. Usually I get around 1 to 3 hours on most titles, which isn't bad at all. Honestly, it actually helps me to stop gaming sometimes because I've been gaming for so many hours. So being limited to a few hours of gaming at a time actually is pretty good in my opinion. However though, if you want to push the battery life even more, you can actually do this. Valve estimates that you can actually push the battery from 3 to 12 hours by tweaking some settings and performance settings on the Steam Deck, giving you already 6 to 7 to 8 more hours gaming on your Steam Deck. Now, this all depends on the game you're going to be playing. If you're playing AAA games on your Steam Deck, you won't get as many hours. But if you're usually playing those indie related games, roguelikes, then you can absolutely push the limits of the Steam Deck. I tend to keep my frame rate at around 45 or 40, which has been doing really well for me. The Steam Deck OLED fits into my life seamlessly. It's versatile whether I'm at home or on the go. It adapts to your life. I play while watching TV, while traveling, or on my way to work or on lunch break. The fact that you can use this thing without being connected to the internet is honestly a reason in itself to buy the Steam Deck. And this alone really sets it apart from any other handheld I've used, especially the PS Portal, which still requires a constant internet connection. And with the built-in Bluetooth, I can just connect my AirPods Max without a second thought. It just works. Portability is also really not an issue with the Steam Deck. It comes in its own carry case, and with this white OLED special edition, the case can even become even smaller, making it easier to carry with you. However, as mentioned earlier, I was a bit surprised that it's actually heavier than the PS Portal. Now, this thing is flexible. You can literally flex and play almost anything on your Steam Deck. With some bit of tweaking, I was able to play my Xbox games from my console and games on the Xbox Game Pass. And with even more tweaking, you can remote play your PS5 and emulate old classic games. So it's not just about the Steam games, This thing can do it all. It can be your all-in-one gaming device without being tied to a single console. I really understand how PC gamers just laugh at us console gamers by being stuck to one console. If you want to know how to get the Steam Deck to stream or connect to your Xbox library, let me know in the comment section. Now, with all that being said, there's one thing that really surprised me the most about the Steam Deck OLED. This little handheld becomes a full-blown console or even a PC when you dock it. You see, I have an Xbox Series S and a PS5. They have functioned as my stationary gaming devices. The PS5 for those blockbuster AAA games like Alan Wake 2, and the Xbox Series S for those indie games and mostly Call of Duty because COD is free on Xbox. But the Steam Deck makes me reconsider selling those devices. This is where the Steam Deck docking station really comes in. So if you just plug an HDMI cable and pair a controller and put it onto your screen, you're set. Sometimes docking the Steam Deck, you can even use it for more productivity. Jump into desktop mode and it's basically a Linux PC. I've answered emails, I've browsed the web, I've even ran CapCut on this thing and edited some videos, and it all fits in a backpack with the dock and a controller and a charger. One thing console players often forget is that PC game pricing is on a whole nother level. I mean, you have Steam sales, Humble Bundle, epic giveaways. I've bought games here for a fraction of the cost on the PS5 or Xbox. It's one of the most easiest ways to save money in short term and potentially waste money in long term by buying a bunch of games you probably won't even play. But to be fair though, the Steam Deck is the perfect backlog killer. Playing old games you probably haven't even touched yet. The Steam Deck OLED isn't just a handheld. It's honestly a lifestyle device. It adapts to wherever and however you would like to play your games. And that is a compliment you really can't give to many other devices out there. For me, it's making me seriously consider selling my PS5 and Xbox Series S. Not because they are bad devices, but because the Steam Deck just does so much more. And I can't wait to make more videos testing and tweaking on the Steam Deck to share with you guys. So what would you choose, a Steam Deck or a console? So if you want more Steam Deck videos, don't forget to hit the like button and hey, maybe even subscribe. Thanks for watching guys, and I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.